Chapter 3, when we awoke the next morning, and then... Oh! I'm sorry! You caught me in the middle of reading an intriguing book. It's called Earth Abides by George R. Stewart. Now, if you like post-apocalyptic type stories or end-of-the-world kind of things, this will go right up your alley. And if you kind of like political science or maybe even sociology, this kind of fits as well, considering the fact that it kind of reminds me of The Walking Dead, where you have this group of survivors and they kind of decide whether what option is best for the group in order to survive. So I found out about this book through the game The Last of Us. And if you've played The Last of Us, there's a certain point in the game where you find a crashed ship and then you start finding these letters and you start to kind of connect this puzzle of these letters, what happened in the sewer. And inside the sewer, you find that he had a group of kids, a group of these survivors. And the man who's had this, his name is Ish. And so when I looked it up, I wanted to look maybe for a theory or like discussion board to about maybe who this guy is and maybe a little bit more information. And what I actually found out is that his name Ish is based off of, or actually the character from this book, the protagonist Ish. So to talk about this book, he actually is not around when this sickness breaks and kills everybody. He's actually in this cabin secluded in the kind of in the middle of nowhere. So when he goes back into town, he sees that most of civilization is just wiped. So he kind of wants to see if there's any more survivors left. So, and thus, in the beginning, he falls in love with a hammer. Because loving hammers is normal, right? It's not like a weird fetish, is it? So he then travels across country to see if there's any survivors left. And in the process, he actually finds a dog and ends up being one of those adventure across the country with my dog type of thing. Now, if only I can be that way with my cat. What are you looking at me for? What the hell is this? You're not a damn slot machine. Normal cat's supposed to do this? So as he's traveling across country, he ends up also finding a woman, and he actually gets along with her and he falls in love. So by the second act of the story, he and her find a whole group of people, and they actually start to form a civilization. They start a little town. And within that town, it kind of fast forwards to who's with who and then who has all these children. Ish becomes this, almost like this grandfather to all these kids. He's almost like a founding father to this entire town. So I have my cat and my hammer, and I'm ready to build mankind. So Ish tries to do the best that he can to get knowledge and learn things that he never knew before, so that way he's able to teach these younger people and teach everybody. So almost like rebuilding humanity, it almost seems like. And so with these kids, he's teaching all these kids, and some things they just don't understand. So Ish tries to teach them all these things, and then it's really hard on him. And so he doesn't want to get people back to their primitive state into mankind. He actually has a son who's kind of like this prodigy. He's kind of like this golden child where he's like, yes, he's smart, he understands. And he develops a really beautiful relationship with him, and it's a really touching part of the story. Now, I'm not going to ruin the ending, but in the third act, it fast forwards to about the last couple months of Ish's life. And he just kind of quits becoming a leader at this point. But that doesn't necessarily make him a bad leader, because everything just didn't go the way that he wanted to. But you find out it's just how humanity is. And he asks these people if they are happy. And they just keep telling him yes, they are. Even though they kind of just see him as that old man, one of the elders that live in the town. Now I'm going to show an example that's a great example that describes how Ish trying to teach everybody, but yet people are going back to their primitive lifestyle. So at this point, this young man is talking to Ish as an elder, who people always see, they don't really talk to him. So this young man talks to him, and Ish starts to learn about what goes on in his community. He said, and so then he observed the arrowhead again, more by feel than by sight. The arrowhead was very sharp, both at the point and along the edges. Ish nearly pricked his thumb. It had the bumpy yet slick feel which told him it was of hammered metal. Though he could not see very clearly, he made the color out as silvery white. "What is that made of?" he asked. "It is from one of those little round things. They have faces on them. The old men have a name for them, but I do not remember what exactly. It is something like corns." Now obviously, you see that it's funny how we see that he's using coins as an arrowhead, but yet to us we see it as currency. But it doesn't, but this whole new world is completely different. They don't need currency, they need survival. So they kind of, it's weird seeing them use money instead of buying things to survive, but they're using them as physical objects to survive. So there's moments like that where they're touching and they speak a lot without having being told directly to you. And that's what I really enjoy about this book. So this world in this book is very fascinating. I really enjoyed it. It was really hard to put down. Now, things are not going to be 100% of the way that you want it to go. It's very tumultuous, and that's exactly what this apocalypse would be like in any scenario. So I have to say, Earth Abides is probably one of my favorite end of the world type stories, and hopefully yours too if you ever get a chance to read it. So thank you so much for watching. If you really like this, feel free to like and subscribe. And last but not least, I would really appreciate it if you guys could comment below on things that you feel like you enjoy that doesn't get a whole lot of appreciation, so that way I can go over. And then I'm always open for ideas. I'm all ears, so don't be afraid to comment below to tell me what you think. And I'm interested, not just for the video's sake, but just for my sake of learning, not only me teaching you, but having the audience teach me something that I might not even know of, which is what this whole series is basically about.